what's something that you would tell a kid coming up as star players that just has aspirations to play beyond high school? What would you tell them?
Change the way you watch basketball for sure. Look at it from more of a lens of learning. There's so many things that happen like in a game that's not someone act like scoring off a highlight and things of that nature. Like there's a lot of boring buckets, I guess.
All right. What's up, everybody? This is going to be a treat for me. I got probably one of my first clients coming up. His name's Kendall Dow. I probably met Kendall when he was probably 8. And I mean, I've been a fan. It's, usually you're looking to help players, train them, get them better. But man, I was a fan of Kendall. He's from my hometown city, or that's actually where we met, not where he's from. I'll let him introduce himself. And since he was 8, we've been training. Even if he lived out in San Antonio, wherever, they would travel, come to Houston, come to my gym, we'd work out. Just following his career, Kendall averaged a little over 20 a game. And I got a chance to really watch him play. He scored people talk about 3 and 4 level scores. This is a true 3 and 4 level scorer in high school. I mean, 50, 40, 90 guy. And those that don't know what that means is that means you shot 50 from the field, 40 from 3, 90 from the free throw line. He was all state, all region. Of course, that means he was all district. So without further ado, this is Kendall Dow. Kendall, just, if you remember anything about how we met or anything like that, throw that in there because you were so young. I'm not sure if you know.
Yeah, it's been a while. I just remember my dad taking me to this gym, man. It's kind of blurry now, but I do remember working on, spinning the ball, right, left into it, left, right into it, working on the basic fundamentals and stuff like that. So, that's something that really stuck out to me and it stayed with me since, from now when I'm in college. So, that was big part of my development as a player.
Yeah, footwork. I mean, I always tell people footwork is the most important thing in basketball. And once you start playing at the level you're currently playing at, I think that's when some people finally realize that. Just so you know, it's Carper's Cove. I mean, like I said, you were 8, so I didn't think you would know exactly where we were. But yeah, that was about the time frame. So it's interesting. I saw you were all state. And, I kind of always wondered, why didn't you play Division I? Because when I watched, of course I was there to help you in terms of recruiting, but like I said, I was a big fan. Do you have a feel as to why? Okay, I'm playing Division II at a really, really good school, by the way. Why do you think it is that you didn't quite get to that level?
Man, I think I should have just played more confident, to be honest, especially in AAU. I think I should have just showcased my skills rather than playing more passive and trying to make the right read and just going out there and letting it flow. So I think that was probably a big part of it.
Okay. Yeah, and I get that. And it's kind of interesting. I always try to separate too. Confidence comes from having success over a certain period of time at a thing. If you're not actually good, that's called delusion. But I agree. 50, 40, 90, there were games that I saw you go 9 for 12. And I'm just like, man, I don't think I ever went 9 for 12. But I agree. And that could be, a part of it. It could be a bunch of optics. But I was always curious about what you thought about that. Tell me about this. You went to college, and I think, if you could correct me if I'm wrong, that was the first time I saw you experience injury. So tell me about the mentality of, dealing with injuries, especially so early in your career. And then, how do you deal with that?
Man, it was tough, especially my freshman year. I was kind of on a roll, and I had to get a appendectomy, a little surgery. Man, it was tough on the mental, and then not knowing how it is in college coming in as a freshman, not knowing how strong you got to be mentally, just from the day-to-day standpoint. When I was younger, when my freshman year, I wish I would have. I just wish I would have had it. Obviously hindsight is 2020, but those things definitely played a factor on me, and looking back on it, it really irks me just thinking about it because. you know,
Yeah.
we know now, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely a challenge going through all of that for sure.
Especially when there's like no fault. You weren't goofing around. It's just out of nowhere, boom, you get injured. And like you said, I remember, I mean, on a roll, on a flow, you're playing good, and then you got to get back, and then you got to get over the mental aspect of the injury. So what about that? Like you come back mentally, what is that like? Just getting over the injury mentally and just being able to be who you used to be.
Man, that's where I think practice is a big part, especially when we practice a lot. So just being more intentional, trying to get your flow, get your rhythm, being intentional where you work out. Those things are very important now because you definitely lose a lot of rhythm when you're not playing and you're not getting subbed in, you're not playing, you're sitting
Yeah.
out of practices. You just kind of miss the flow of things and watching film, being engaged whenever you're watching practice, things of that nature. That will, help you get back to the same level that you were prior to the injury for sure.
Yeah, and especially when you go from being like, all state star and you're able to take shots and do all, and have all this freedom. Then when you get to college, everybody's good, and then that freedom, some of that freedom is taken away.
Yeah.
So over injuries while not having the same freedom to get back in rhythm is difficult. Just explain to some of the players, because there's a lot of players that I train that are gonna watch this, and others. Okay? I'm in college. What's a typical day for Kendall Dow?
So I'll break down like today. Now that I'm a senior, I don't have many in-person classes, so it'll be 8 a.m. class, and that's really my only class. And then so that class 8 a.m. to 9:15, 9:30 lift, 9:30 to 10:30. Then we got chapel at 11. You got a little 30-minute window. Then after chapel, you go work out, and then work out for about an hour or so, get your skills working, and then we usually practice at 3. So whenever I was a freshman, I would have class at like 11:40, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 1:15, a whole bunch. But now after that skills work, I get a little bit time to rest, and then we got practice at 3. So, you show up around 2, go get your treatment, get your body right, and then you got practice, film. It could be a long day, especially coming in as a freshman. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a funny story, because we've known each other. I know your parents and everything. So when you came to work out, you stayed with me for about a week. And my wife, she's gonna watch this, and she has this joke. I was like, yeah, I'm interviewing Kendall today. And she's like, oh, you mean the kid that came here, ate, and then just went right back up to the gym? Like she said, I never saw you. She was like, he played with Awesome, and then boom, he's at the gym.
Right,
There was multiple times where you would jump in like a session that I was teaching in the morning, then you'll jump into an evening session. I'd come home. She's like, "Where's Kendall?" I was like, "Hey, he's still at the gym. He said he's gonna lock it up for me." So yeah, gym rat. But that's to be honest, it's just what it takes. I have a lot of respect for anybody that is 6'2" and under playing. Well, first of all, anybody that's playing collegiately, because that means you're part of the 3.5%. Only 3.5% of kids that play basketball get to play beyond high school. So just to be on that, and then I think the number, I know like Division I, you have to get a full scholarship, so that's 1%. A lot of D2 players don't get full, but you were a player who got a full scholarship, and that's one of the reasons Lubbock Christian's so good, is because they get players like you who maybe got looked over or something like that and got to still play. I mean, that's what you have to do at the Division II level to have an elite team. So they get players like you. So I'm really proud of what you've done, and then who you had to become in order to be this collegiate player. I mean, you had to beat out 97% of kids who play basketball. So yeah, I just have to say that. What advice? We met at 8. What advice would you give your 8, 9-year-old self now that you know what you know now?
Man, probably just being more intentional with the work. I think that's something over my college years is that I've seen has been a big part. Being more intentional with watching film, the way you watch basketball. You know, obviously you want to see the highlights and stuff, but you know, just learning the game.
Mhm.
I would say a big thing is learning to play on balance, learning to draw fouls whenever I was younger. And man, it's going to be a challenge for sure. There's gonna be ups and downs, and not riding the wave because you get caught on the bottom sometimes. But
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
yeah, there's so much, man. Like I think about this all the time. I just think about the way I would work. I would work a little bit differently. That's
Right.
my main thing whenever I think about it. Yeah, just being way more intentional with it.
So yeah, I mean, and I say a lot of the stories that I tell kids now. Obviously, I've probably told you about my career, and and I thought you did a good job of taking the information I was saying, and then like trying your best to apply it with the knowledge you have. But now that you know it, it like means a bit more. Like like I always tell kids, hey, I got to play at a pretty high level. But if I could do it all over again, I would train completely different. I would train how I'm currently training you guys. And like sometimes they don't understand what I'm saying. And so
Right.
now, it's fun talking to you now because you're just like, okay, now I know exactly what he means by you got to be intentional. And so like when you say it, it resonates. Because I have the same feelings. I was like, man, I always tell people the Dirk Nowitzki story when he was shooting. He said he was in the gym when I was in Germany, and if you counted the shots that hit rim but still went in as misses, he still shot like 500 for 700. And I just asked him, like, I was like, man, how did you do that? Like, it felt like the dumbest question ever. And he said, this is after they beat the Heat. He was like, I take every shot like it's game 7 of the NBA Finals. And I'm a pro at this point, and I realize that I have never trained like that. So, so when you say that, obviously I worked hard, but the key word I think is intentional. What's the biggest jump then? I mean, so high school, all state player, then you get to college. What's the biggest jump from high school to college?
I would say the physicality. Like, and then everybody's, high school, you're playing against people who, like, sometimes, you're just playing against people who try out for the team. They're not really taking it serious. But college
Yeah.
is, it's way more serious. It's way more serious. And whenever I first came to college, I used to want to take like 1 foot layups, things of that nature. But now I'm starting to see the importance of playing off 2 feet.
Yeah, yeah. They when you came out, I had one of my guys, Lonzy, work with you, and he has a very different style. It's a very physical style, which is why I had him come out and see you. And that was I remember that workout. It was very physical, And one of the biggest compliments that I given you to him was I was like, man, he's one of the better even kids, even when we were younger, like junior high, even. I could like you would come down, do a workout with me for let's say an hour or two. Your dad would film the whole thing. You could go home and work on it, and then I would see it in your next junior high game. And I was just like, man, this kid really knows how to apply information, which is so different. So like, have you found that like okay, somebody to diagnose like your game, the shortcomings and things like that while you've been in college? Is there a person or videos or something that you go to kind of work on what you now know?
I think back to my freshman year, we had a really good player, one of the probably the best player I've ever played with, Rowan McKenzie. Just
Mm.
man, though
Hmm.
obviously coming to LCU, we definitely play a lot of moving styles, so there's
Right.
definitely a learning curve, learning how to play the screens. But he was, he was Australian. He played like Luka Doncic, and I never seen anyone play with the pace he played with. He wasn't the fastest, wasn't the athletic, so I could resonate in that kind of thing. But man, I would watch him and just go, and I would guard him in practice too, and I would just be like, try to be a
Yeah.
student from it. Especially now, like I go back and watch some of his film and just just try to apply it to my game. The way he played off balance, he would get people in the air, bump them, and that's something
Yeah.
I didn't have in my game, and that's what I'm trying to like. I've been trying to do that in these scrimmages that we've had, just being intentional, pump fake, bumps, things of that nature. I wish I would have had that earlier in my game for sure.
Yeah. and practicing that, like getting to the line. I remember always telling you, like, hey, we got to find a way to get to the line more. We got to find a way to initiate contact. And so, I mean, I think you kind of end up falling back to what's I would consider old school. Like, let me watch what was tough for me to guard and try to implement that. And I think everybody like has trainers and all those other things. But at the end of the day, look at somebody who has your physical attributes that is consistently good, and then try to emulate some of the things that you could pull from their game. Because all this stuff is a copycat, you know. So that'd be my question. Do you feel like when you watch games now, is that different? Like, let's say you watch U of H or the Lakers, like what's changed? What are you watching when you're watching somebody else play now versus when you were in, let's say, high school?
I like yeah. Now I like seeing when I see a two-way player, that always stands out to me. Someone with a high motor for sure, and efficiency is probably a big thing now. When someone can get to it with 1 to 2 dribbles, catch and shoots, things of that nature, and they're just efficient in their game. That's something that really stands out to me now.
Lubbock Christian up 22, and that is thanks to, once again, number 10 for them, Kendall Dow. 14 points on the day, 5 of 5 from the floor, 4 of 4 from behind the arc. That was the most recent one falling.
Yeah, nice. What do you like most about like where you're at? Is it like the offense, the defense? Like when you compare y'all style to other people's, what do you like about it?
Yeah, the offense for sure. There's a lot of freedom in it. There's a lot of, and it fits my game because I can shoot it pretty well. So, and we shoot a lot of threes, and reading screens is a big part.
Yeah,
which is, I really enjoy reading screens. I'm not gonna lie to you, curling them, flaring them, and it's just hard to guard. And then from another standpoint, the way we watch film is I know it's different from most of the teams that we play, and it's just on a different level. So I think that also gives us an advantage, and I enjoy that as well.
Yeah, we I've obviously gone down and worked your team out multiple times, and a lot of times I'll jump out there with y'all, and that's probably the hardest thing. Like at my age now, I'm just like, man, I got to chase all the, because everybody can shoot it. It's like you're not allowed to go there unless you can shoot it.
Right. Right.
So any little bit of space is a bucket. So now me, at my current age now, I got to chase y'all around everything, and that's difficult. So I know exactly what you're saying. And guys are reading it, and the pastors are reading where they should go. And if anybody is off target, it doesn't work. So I figured that you were going to say the offense because you put yourself in so many closeout situations and get to read guys. Man, that's really cool. So what are your hopes and dreams now? Like, what are you like moving forward? You're in your senior season, which is, man, that just sounds crazy to say right now. But like, yeah, what are you looking forward to this year?
In terms of the season, or just like throughout?
Well, first the season, and then tell me then what you would like to do after.
In terms of the season, man, I'm hoping to be all conference first team, really MVP. I really think I could do it.
Okay.
I really think I could do it. I got a high standard for myself. So, and I see us doing pretty well. We got a lot of new faces, but this is probably one of my favorite teams that I played on. And then, after hoops, I really just want to see. I want to see the world with it. I want to, if it could take me to overseas, see a couple of new places, and that would be wonderful. So that's really what I've been on.
Man, that's good. Like whenever I've always asked you about your goals, it's always been like that. Like, hey, I want to get MVP. They have this saying, shoot for the moon, and if you fall short, you'll land amongst the stars. And that's what I hear from you. And that's why I think you always give yourself a chance. Going to college is it's tough. Basketball is a cheap sport. Everybody plays it. And it's just funny that you've had enough success to where you could still say things like that to give yourself, because you have the confidence that you're going to do it. And if it don't happen, hey, all right, let's move on to the next challenge. So, man, you just got to keep that spirit and like I said, I'm gonna see if I can make another trip because oddly enough, y'all played St. Ed's and I couldn't make it out. So, before your college career is over, I mean, I've been to your practices, all that. I got to make sure I catch a game. So that's gonna be on my bucket list this year, man.
For sure, you got to come out to one of these, especially this year. It's gonna be big.
Yeah, for sure. Before I go, like, if you have any like advice for a kid coming up, at star players, like what's something that you would tell a kid coming up as star players that just has aspirations to play beyond high school? What would you tell them?
Change the way you watch basketball for sure. Look at it from more of a lens of learning. Seeing there's so many things that happen like in a game that's not someone act like scoring off a highlight and things of that nature. Like there's a lot of boring buckets, I guess you would say. Like I said, I used to watch people curling screens, and that used to get me. I used to watch it and go like that was pretty interesting. Watch how efficient the guys are, and yeah, just especially when you get to college, like my freshman year, if you even get to play, you might be getting 4 or 5 shots a game. So you got to be efficient in those 4 or 5 shots. You got to be ready when the times come. And that would be the main thing, just being efficient. You get 4 or 5 shots in a game, you should want to go 4 for 5, 3 for 5, be efficient. And that's a big part of being a college player.
Yeah. And one of the things I've really liked in watching your career is like you can play multiple sheets of music. I mean, you could be a role player, you could be a star, you could be a current star, but then in this third quarter, I'm going to be a role player because that's what my team needs. And so that's always been the ultimate teammate when I watch you play. And so like I said, man, I can't say it enough how proud I am of you. And just keep it up, man. I got to make it out there so I can watch watch some of these games this year.
Yes,
I'm excited. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks again for blessing the podcast. And hey, I'll see you soon. All right.
It was a pleasure. Appreciate you for having me on.